back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 Rae Dunn inspired DIY projects that can brighten up your home for this Easter season. I found these projects either online or in the stores, and I wanted to try and see if I can make them myself. So let's get started. First up will be a garland that I found on Instagram, and I absolutely fell in love with it and thought I could recreate it using Dollar Tree products. So I started with the wood ornaments that you can find at the Dollar Tree for most any season. So we need a pack of the bunnies and I need a pack of the carrots. I'm only going to use 3 of the bunnies and 4 of the carrots, so I'll have a little bit left. We're also going to need some jute string that you can find at the Dollar Tree, a few paintbrushes, and some paint. First, I'll be using the Waverly chalk paint that you can find at Walmart in the plaster color. For the carrots, I'm going to be using the Waverly chalk paint in the color pumpkin. Also can find that at Walmart. And then Craft Smart acrylic paint, which I found at Michael's, and the color orange. You can use any craft paint that you would like. Also, for the carrots, I will be using Waverly chalk paint in the color moss and Craft Smart acrylic paint in the color mint green. First, I'm going to start by painting the bunnies. I'm going to use Waverly's chalk paint in the color plaster. This color is slightly off-white, but not cream and not bright white either. I think it's the perfect color for all of the Rae Dunn stuff that is the white color. We're going to start by painting the bunnies. We're going to paint 2 coats of the plaster on both sides of the bunnies. Here's what they look like when they're all finished. Next up is the carrots. So we're going to start by using the Waverly chalk paint in the color pumpkin, and we're going to paint both sides of the carrots, not the pumpkin, that's the color, in the orange paint. One side at a time, of course, and let it dry completely before painting your second coat. You want to make sure and paint the edges of the carrots as well. Both sides is necessary to be painted since this will be hanging and most likely will be able to be seen from both sides. Making sure that we're painting from side to side so that it gives it a nice texture. Later on you'll see that I'll go back and paint in the same direction in a different color, adding some texture to the carrot, or at least the appearance of it. Gives it a little bit more realistic look, I think. I'm going to let those dry after I paint both sides, and then I'll start on the green. Now you can see I'm going in, after I've painted some of the green on the top, they've completely dried. I'm going in with a little bit of the Waverly chalk paint in the plaster and mixing it with the moss color. I'm mixing those two and getting almost a completely dry brush and then going back over the green in a sweeping motion to try to give it a little bit of texture. I also did this on the bottom of the carrot with that lighter color of the Craftsmith paint in the orange. I think it was called, yeah, it was called orange. Just gives them a little bit of texture. Now, I didn't show you this next color in the grass green. I felt like it needed a little bit more dimension, so I used that as well. Mixed it up with my moss green and then went back in that same sweeping motion to give it a little bit more texture. Next, I printed out the words that I wanted it to say on my printer, and I'm going to go in on the back side of the paper with a pencil and trace out the words. Remember, we're using the back side. This side's going to be face down onto the bunnies, and then we're going to use the other side to trace so that it will transfer to the bunny. I don't know if you guys are old as I am, but I remember doing this a lot as a child in school to transfer images from one thing to the next. It's kind of the same concept as using some graphite paper, except for in this instance we're using the graphite from the pencil. It works exactly the same. So now that I've got that done, I'm going to cut them out so that I can place them in the correct place on each of the bunnies. I'm going to cut them down so that I can kind of get an idea of what that will look like. Next, I'm going to tape it down with some painter's tape so that it doesn't move while I am tracing over the lettering. That will make it for a much cleaner look. When I use my pencil, I am pushing the lead back in so that I'm not using the lead, just using the end of the pencil. You can also use other tools for this, such as burnishing tools, or even some of your Cricut tools will work as well. I'm going over each of those letters until I see it transfer. And here's what it looks like. You can see that transferred quite nicely. Now, I'm going to show you this again on the second bunny, just in case you missed it the first time or what I said didn't make any sense. So, again, I'm placing the word on the bunny where I feel like it should go, and I'm taping it down so it doesn't move while I'm working on it. Then I'm going to trace over each of the letters, because on the back side is the pencil marks, until I feel like I've got a good transfer. Going over each of those letters until I feel like it is on there. And one thing that's nice, I did only tape one end so that I could lift that up without moving it, so that I could check to see if it transferred. And it did. So now I'm going to go in with my Sharpie. You can also use a paint pen if you would like. I couldn't find my black paint pen, so I used my Sharpie. However, I do wish now that I had used one of the thinner, more fine tip Sharpies. I think that would have been a little bit more like the Rae Dunn one that we saw. This was a little bit bolder than I feel like the font is a lot of times on the Rae Dunn stuff. However, I do like how it turned out. I think it looks good, so was not disappointed at all. But I think if I had to do it over again, I would try it with the more fine tip. So that might be something you want to try if you recreate this yourself. So again, I'm just going over each of these letters so that it is more visible and looks more like the Rae Dunn version. This is super simple and such a great way to get an image transferred to any of your projects, especially if you don't have a Cricut or one of the vinyl cutting machines or a stencil or something like that. Here it is, all finished and hanging on my coffee bar. I did forget to mention that all I did to hang these was cut my jute string to the length that I needed, and then I used the string that came with the ornaments and tied them to the jute string and spaced them out so that they were evenly spaced on the jute string. I think it turned out great, and I hope that you love it too. If for some reason you try to recreate this yourself, please let me know. Follow me on Instagram or leave it in the comments down below. I would love to see any of the projects that you guys recreate. Now, up next is an Easter egg plate. We've all seen those Rae Dunn Easter egg plates. Well, I can't find them. I've only seen them online. None of my stores have had them. So I ran across this one at Walmart, and it was purple with a picture of a bunny on it, and it was 97 cents. It is a lightweight plastic, so it's not ceramic, but I used this Rust-Oleum paint in the color Candy Pink, and I gave it 2 coats of spray paint on either side and let them dry completely. I let it dry in between each coat, of course. Now I'm going to make a decal using my Cricut machine, and I'm going to adhere it to the plate. Super simple. So I went in to my Cricut, and I have a sort of a Rae Dunn style font. I think mine's called Farmhouse. Sometimes I see them, they're called the Skinny. You can find them for free on dafont.com. Super easy if you have one of these machines. Then all I do is I load my vinyl and push a button, and the machine does all the work for you. Super easy. So if you have a little bit of extra money to spend, these machines are certainly worth it. You can do all sorts of projects. They cut anything from vinyl to paper. And there's my vinyl decal all applied to my Easter egg plate. I think it turned out pretty good. I think it looks very similar to the Rae Dunn ones. On the next project, I will be able to show you a little bit more about how I apply these decals to projects. It's really easy. Now, here it is, all done for Easter. It's displayed right now in my foyer, and my picnic basket displayed with some bunnies. I may do a little bit of work on that and change it up a little, but I'll be sharing with that with you hopefully pretty soon. I love how it turned out. If you decide to recreate this one, please let me know down in the comments down below. Now, next is a mason jar canister. I started with a mason jar from the Dollar Tree. I really like those. They are very plain, and there's no like writing or anything on them. And I spray painted it white with a semi-gloss white paint from Rust-Oleum. Then I went back in with that candy pink paint that I used on the plate, and I'm going to give it this ombre effect. And I have to admit, I did not come up with this idea myself. I saw actually lots of them on Buttermilk Chic by Wendy. She gave me this inspiration. She makes a lot of these for different holidays and different themes, and I think they're really cute. So I thought I would give it a try. So what I did was started with the pink paint at the bottom and gave it a little bit more of an intense spray on the bottom, lightening up as I went up the mason jar. Kind of give it this ombre effect, so it looks like it's going from this more intense pink up to the lighter pink and into the white. I actually really like this effect, and I think you could do this with any color for any holiday. Turned out really cute. So it was only one coat of white paint and one of the pink, and I let it dry completely before applying my decal. Now I went back into my craft room after it was dry, and I have my decal. I use the clear contact paper from the Dollar Tree as my transfer tape. So all I do, once I remove all of the vinyl, the excess vinyl from where I have cut out the letters, I apply the clear transfer tape to the top of it and then use that to transfer it to the project. I'm going back over it so that I make sure that all those letters stick to the jar. And then I'm going to gently pull at a diagonal, which I find works better to remove the transfer paper from the project. Super simple. I think anybody can do it. And there's how it turned out. I think it looks really cute. And here is the finished product. I love how it turned out and how it gives a pop of color to my Rae Dunn display. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give me a big thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I have a lot of exciting things coming up for Easter, and you won't want to miss them. Coming up very soon is my Easter coffee bar. I think it turned out adorable, and I think you're going to love it. I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll catch you in the next one.